Hello everyone, welcome back to Mass Transfer 1. So you all know that we have been discussing the second unit of the course that is on humidification. So in the previous session, that is session number 4, we learned about the construction and use of a psychrometric chart. So we learned what is a psychrometric chart and how it is constructed and how we can plot the various values of or various properties of vapor gas mixture on a psychrometric chart. So then how we can use this chart to estimate the different properties of the given paper gas mixture and how it can be used for humidification operation. So today, let us learn how to determine the humidity of a given sample of air using a humidity chart. So let us also solve a problem on humidity chart. So where we can get the practice of using the humidity chart to estimate the properties of vapor gas mixture. So determination of humidity is nothing but it is the estimation of the moisture content of gases. So determination of humidity of air means you are basically finding out the quantity of moisture or water vapor that is present in air. So this process requires, in fact, there are several methods using which you can find out the humidity of a given sample of air. So we are discussing here two methods. One is a dew point method, other one is wet bulb or the psychrometric method. So let us first take up the dew point method. So as the name itself says, the method involves the determination of the dew point of the given sample of air, so using which you can read the humidity from humidity chart. So you all know what is meant by a dew point. A dew point is a temperature at which the given vapor gas mixture, or if you are talking about air, the given air becomes saturated when you cool the sample out of contact with the liquid at a constant total pressure. So that lower temperature, so at which the mixture becomes exactly saturated with water vapor, is found out, and using that value you can read the humidity from the humidity chart. So there are several ways how you can cool the given air sample. So one simplest method is to have a vessel that is exposed to air, and the vessel should be such that it can be cooled by water. Then you require that the vessel has a polished surface so that you can easily observe the condensation process taking place on the surface. So then the temperature of the cooling water inside the vessel is gradually lowered and the metal surface is observed continuously. At certain low temperature, you will observe that a film of moisture condenses on the surface of the vessel. So the temperature at which this mist just appears or just starts forming is noted down as a dew point temperature. So that temperature is taken and it can be used to estimate the humidity of the given air as shown in this diagram. So this is a simple diagram showing a humidity chart where only the 100% saturation line is shown. So because that is the only line that is required for estimation of humidity. So you have to mark whichever temperature you obtain in the experiment on x-axis, that is your dew point temperature. So that dew point temperature point from where you can read the humidity chart by constructing a straight vertical line. That line will meet the 100% saturation line at some point. So from that point, if you draw a straight horizontal line that meets the y-axis at certain point, so that point gives you the actual humidity of the given air sample. The dew point is called as the name for the dew point temperature has been given in that way because exactly at that temperature, first dew of moisture condenses. That is, first dew is formed at that particular temperature. Okay, so this is how we can use the dew point temperature to find out the humidity of the given air sample. So let us now see the psychrometric method. The psychrometric method requires a setup that contains two thermometers, one that is meant for estimating the dry bulb temperature, other one for wet bulb temperature. The wet bulb temperature measuring thermometer should have a cloth wrapped around its bulb, and the cloth should be always in a wet condition. So for this purpose, you can dip the lower end of that cloth into a small vessel which contains water. So the setup that is used in a lab is as shown in the diagram. So you can fix the two thermometers to a board, and one thermometer is kept, the bulb of that thermometer is kept wet by wrapping the bulb with a piece of cloth, and that will be dipped in a small container containing water. So here the theory is, when you expose this wet bulb thermometer to the flow of air which is unsaturated, so since the air is unsaturated, the water from the bulb starts evaporating into air. So that evaporation of water requires heat, and that heat at the initial stages will be supplied by the sensible heat of the water itself. So as a result of that, the water cools, and the wet bulb thermometer initially shows the decrease in the level of thermometer, indicating that the water temperature is getting reduced. So after a certain point is reached, the water temperature will have crossed or will have gone below the dry bulb temperature of air. So after that, the heat required for the vaporization of water from the bulb will be supplied from the air. So from then onwards, the water temperature will not be changing. So the reading of the wet bulb thermometer will become steady from that point. So means there is no further decrease in the level of the mercury in the wet bulb thermometer. So that reading of the wet bulb thermometer is taken as wet bulb temperature, and the dry bulb thermometer indicates a constant reading that is taken as dry bulb temperature. So you can see in the diagram that the wet bulb temperature is having a value lower than the dry bulb temperature, and the difference between these two values is called wet bulb temperature depression. So now after having obtained the two temperatures, that is dry bulb and wet bulb temperature, so take a humidity chart as shown in the figure. So mark the dry bulb temperature on x-axis. So from that point draw a straight vertical line. Then mark the wet bulb temperature on 100% saturation line, and from that point draw a straight line which is nothing but the adiabatic cooling line. The adiabatic cooling line is drawn in such a way that it is parallel to the adjacent adiabatic cooling curves that you find on a humidity chart. So this wet bulb temperature line meets the dry bulb temperature line at some point. So then from that point, if you read the humidity on y-axis, that gives you the absolute humidity of the given air sample. So that is about the psychrometric method. So this is one slide where I have explained you how a humidity chart can be used in a humidification process. So humidification of air is nothing but preparing air that has the same known temperature and known humidity. So that means you have to convert a sample of air to that sample of air having a different humidity value and different temperature. So that is required for a certain process in an industry. So for example, if you want to carry out some kind of reaction in a space where the humidity of air is required to be of certain high value, so then you have to prepare the air in that space to have the required humidity and required temperature. So for this purpose of humidification, we need to contact the air sample with water so that the desired humidity is reached by the evaporation of moisture. So that operation can be carried out in two methods. So in first method, the air is treated with water. So until the desired humidity is reached, and after that, the air what you obtain will be heated to whichever temperature is required. So in another method, so which is called the adiabatic humidification method. So first you will heat the mixture to a high temperature, and from that temperature if you cool the mixture adiabatically, the desired humidity will be reached. So then after the desired humidity is reached, you can reheat the mixture to whichever temperature is desired. So on a humidity chart, you can represent this process as shown in the diagram. Here, ACB represents the first method of humidification of air. AC represents the humidification process where the mixture is contacted with the water until it reaches the desired humidity at point C. Then, after it has reached the desired humidity, it can be heated to whichever temperature is required to get a sample of known temperature and known humidity. Now, here, point A represents the initial condition of the given air sample. So, the initial arrival temperature is Tg1 and the corresponding humidity is Y1 dash. Then, there is another point in the diagram, that is point B, which represents the final condition of the given air. So that means you are supposed to convert the air represented by point A to that represented by point B. So one method of obtaining this, as I already explained, is through a method of treating the mixture with water initially and then heating it to the required temperature. The path of that operation is ACB. So another method is represented by the path ADCB. So in this method, first the mixture represented by the drivable temperature T1 and humidity Y1 dash is heated to a certain high temperature. So from where it can be adiabatically cooled to attain the required humidity. So the initial heating is indicated by the line AD. So you need to heat the initial mixture to a temperature represented by point T, and from that point if you cool it adiabatically, that is if you contact with water at adiabatic saturation temperature in a adiabatic cooling operation, then the mixture reaches the desired humidity at point C. That humidification process of cooling is represented by the line DC. So once the required humidity is reached at point C, you have to again heat this mixture to the drivable temperature Tg2, because this is the desired temperature of the exit air. So the path is represented by ADCB. So that is how you can represent the humidification operation on a humidity chart. So this is a typical diagram showing you the humidification operation on a humidity chart. So where the values are also shown. So here, look at the point which corresponds to 70-degree temperature on x-axis. So that point shows the Tg1 value 70 degrees and the corresponding y1 dash value is 0.003 kg water per kg dry air. So now if you want to carry out the operation by adiabatic cooling method, then first you have to heat the initial mixture to a certain high temperature from where you can cool the mixture adiabatically so that the desired humidity is reached. So that heating operation is represented by the straight line shown in the figure. So that is from 70-degree point, the heating is shown up to 168 degrees. So 168 degrees centigrade is the temperature, degree Fahrenheit here actually, is a temperature to which you are supposed to heat the given mixture. So that is the preheating is to be done to a temperature of 168 degree Fahrenheit. So from that point, if you cool along the adiabatic cooling line as shown in the diagram, the desired humidity of 0.022 is reached. So once the desired humidity is attained by the given mixture, then you can again heat it to whichever temperature is required. So as indicated in the diagram, you are heating the final mixture to 130 degrees centigrade. So what we have done here is we have converted the air sample having a temperature 70 degrees and humidity 0.003 kg water per kg dry air to that mixture having a temperature 130 degrees centigrade and humidity of 0.022 kg water per kg dry air. So that is how you can represent the humidification operation on a humidity chart. So now let us solve a problem on humidity chart. The question is like this: an air water vapor sample has a dry bulb temperature of 55 degrees centigrade and an absolute humidity of 0.030 kg water per kg dry air at 1 standard atmospheric pressure. Tabulate its characteristics. So you are given an air sample having a water content of around 0.030 kg water per kg dry air. So this is the y dash value of the given sample of air, and also its dry bulb temperature is given, it is 55 degrees centigrade. Using these two values, you can read the other characteristics from the humidity chart that is plotted for air water vapor mixture at 1 standard atmospheric pressure. So for solving this problem, you require a humidity chart that is prepared at 1 standard atmospheric pressure. So then all the characteristics that you read on the chart will be tabulated as a result. So the point of coordinates TG equals 55 degrees centigrade and y dash 0.030 kg per kg water per kg dry air is to be located on a psychrometric chart for air water vapor system at 1 standard atmospheric pressure in order to estimate the characteristics of the given sample of air. So this is a humidity chart for air water vapor mixture plotted at 1 standard atmospheric pressure. So now let us see how we can use this chart to estimate the various characteristics of the given sample of air. So this figure typically shows how you can use the humidity chart to read the various properties. So point A is to be marked on a humidity chart corresponding to the dry bulb temperature on x-axis. In this case, it is T1, and the humidity of the given sample in this example is H1. So H1 is marked on y-axis, T1 on x-axis. The two characteristics provide point A on the chart from which you can estimate the different characteristics. So you should be able to draw a saturation curve passing through point A. So that curve will help you read the percentage saturation for the given mixture. Then from point A, if you draw a adiabatic cooling line, that line will meet the 100% saturation line at point E as shown in the diagram. from where you can read the adiabatic saturation temperature on x-axis. So as shown in the diagram, it is Ts on x-axis. Then you can get the humidity of the sample at adiabatic saturation temperature, that is y dash As, on point F on the y-axis. So which is showing you the humidity of the saturated mixture, that is Hs. So then from point A, if you draw a straight horizontal line towards the left, that line will cross the 100% line at point C. So from point C also you can read a temperature on x-axis that gives you dew point temperature of the given sample of air. So if you extend this line further, that line will again meet one more curve or one more plot, that is humid heat versus humidity line. So from that point you can read the humid heat of the sample on the y-axis, so on the x-axis at the top. So this is how we can estimate all the properties of vapor gas mixture by just knowing any two of the characteristics. So you can also estimate humid volume, then the specific volume of dry air and also the saturated volume. You can also find out the enthalpy of the given air sample. Then also you can estimate the latent heat of vaporization. All these characteristics are obtained on single chart, that is the psychrometric chart for that particular type of vapor gas mixture, plotted at that total pressure on which the operation is being carried out. Now this is how you can use the humidity chart. Let us now take up the actual exercise of reading the various properties on a humidity chart. The first step is to mark the dry bulb temperature on x-axis. So dry bulb temperature is known to you. So it is 55 degrees centigrade, that is given in the question. Mark that point on the x-axis. So you can see that Tg, what I have written on the graph, is the dry bulb temperature. So from that point, I have drawn a straight vertical line. So this line is meeting the horizontal line that is drawn from the humidity value, that is 0.03 kg water per kg dry air, and that value is marked on y-axis. From there a horizontal straight line is drawn and these two lines are meeting at point D. So from this point we have drawn a curve that is showing 26.1%. So from this curve you understood that the percentage saturation of the given sample of air is 26.1%. Means the given air is only saturated up to 26.1%. So again from point D, you have drawn a adiabatic cooling line up to point F on the 100% saturation line. So DF is that cooling curve constructed. This adiabatic cooling curve is represented by the line DF. So this line has met the 100% saturation curve at point F. So from point F, so if you draw a straight vertical line, this line will cut the enthalpy of saturated air line. So from where you can read the enthalpy of the given vapor gas mixture H dash. Then the straight line drawn from the dry bulb temperature Tg is meeting another curve that is been plotted as a enthalpy of saturated air. So from that point, if you read the value on the right side of the plot, so it is corresponding to some value of around 355 kilojoules per kg dry air of enthalpy. So that is where you are reading the enthalpy of the given saturated air. So the given vapor gas mixture. So then the line of dry bulb has been extended so that you can find out the humidity of the sample at its saturated condition. This line is meeting again the 100% saturation line at a higher point. So from where you have obtained another characteristics, that is humidity of the given sample at saturated condition. So Ys dash is obtained again on the y-axis as you can see here. So that Ys dash is corresponding to some point 0.15 kg water per kg dry air. So that is also obtained there. So one more point is there. The straight line of a dry bulb temperature is meeting another line that is plotted for saturated humid volume. So from that point you can read the humid volume of the saturated air on again the y-axis to the left side. So it is showing that humid volume value is around 1.1 meter cube per kg dry air. So in the same way, another line enthalpy of dry air is also bisecting the dry bulb temperature of air at a point slightly above the point T. So from that point also you have drawn a straight horizontal line. So this line is giving another reading on the y-axis. So it is corresponding to some 57 value, using which also you can calculate the humid volume. Now let us tabulate all these values that we have obtained from the graph, and using these values you have to calculate the other characteristics of the vapor gas mixture. The percentage humidity or the percentage saturation for the given sample is read on the chart by vertical interpolation between the adjacent curves of constant percentage humidity, so which is obtained as 26.1%. So you have to just draw a curve from the point where the dry bulb temperature and the humidity line meet. So that curve will help you by vertical interpolation method to read the percentage saturation of the given air. So alternative method for obtaining this value is for dry bulb temperature 55 degrees centigrade, the absolute humidity at saturated condition is 0.115 kg water per kg dry air. So this is obtained from the humidity chart. So you know what is the value of y dash, 0.030 kg watt per kg dry air. So this is given in the question itself. Now using ys dash and y dash you can find out the percentage saturation. So percentage saturation or percentage humidity equals y dash divided by ys dash into 100. So 0.03 divided by 0.115 into 100 gives you 26.08%. So which can be rounded off to 26.1%. So now this value is same as the value that is obtained from humidity chart. So that is how you can find out the values by using different methods and compare the values to check the calculations, that is the correctness of your calculation. So next step you have to determine the molar humidity. So once the absolute humidity is given, then the calculation of molar humidity is not at all a problem. So we know what is the relationship between the absolute humidity and molar humidity. So absolute humidity y dash will be equal to molar humidity y into MA divided by MB, where the capital MA and MB represent the molecular weight of vapor and gas respectively. So for air water vapor mixture, MA is the molecular weight of water, which is equal to 18, and MB is the molecular weight of air, which is approximately 29. So now y is equal to y dash into mb by ma. So y dash is equal to 0.030 into 28.97 divided by 18.02. So on calculating, you will get the absolute humidity, that is molar humidity of the given mixture as 0.0482 kilomoles water per kilomoles dry air. So next, the other characteristic, that is the partial pressure of water for the given sample, is obtained by this equation. So you know what is the relationship between the y and small pa, right? So y equals pa divided by p minus pa into p minus pa. So then if you rearrange the equation, then you can write the equation in terms of pa as pa is equal to y into capital P divided by 1 plus y. So you already have calculated y value. So substitute that y value and also the total pressure which is already given in the question. So that will be y is 0.0482 into 1.013 into 10 raised to 5, that is the total pressure, divided by 1 plus 0.0482. So upon calculation, the partial pressure of A is obtained as 4,660 Newton per meter square. So the vapor pressure of water at 55 degrees centigrade is PA, the capital PA is 118 mmHg, or in Newton per meter square it is of a value 15,730 Newton per meter square. So this value of vapor pressure can be obtained from the vapor pressure data for water. So from point D in the humidity chart, proceed at constant relative humidity to the saturation curve at point E. So this is a process of drawing an adiabatic cooling line. So from point D, so where the dry bulb temperature and the humidity lines are meeting. So from that point, draw a line, that is adiabatic cooling line. So which will meet the humidity chart at point E. So after you construct the line DE on a humidity chart, from that point, okay, sorry, this is a step where you are estimating the dew point, so not the wet bulb temperature. So from the point where the dry bulb temperature line and the humidity line are meeting, you have to draw a straight horizontal line. That is whatever line you have drawn for humidity, 0.03 kg water per kg dry air. So extend that line till that line meets the 100% saturation curve. So that line that is constructed is DE, and that line has an endpoint E, which is exactly on the saturation line. So from point E, if you read the dew point temperature on x-axis, you will get the TDP value as 31.5 degrees centigrade. Now let us understand how we can calculate the specific volume of dry air for the given mixture of air. So at 55 degrees centigrade, the specific volume of dry air is 0.93 meter cube per kg. So this is, I've already explained you in the humidity chart. That is from point D, you have to draw an adiabatic cooling line such that it meets the saturation line at point F. So from that point F, you have to draw a straight line vertically, so which meets the specific volume of dry air curve at some point. From that point, you can obtain the specific volume of dry air on y-axis on the left side. So that value obtained from chart is 0.93 meter cube per kg. The humid volume of saturated air from the same point is also read as 1.1 meter cube per kg dry air. So both of these values have been obtained from the humidity chart. So as I've already explained in the previous slides. So to find out the humid volume, there are again two methods. So in one method, the interpolating can be done for 26.1% humidity. So 0.93 represents the specific volume of dry air. So the difference between the specific, that is a saturated volume and the specific volume will give you the humid volume of the given sample. So that value is multiplied by the percentage humidity 0.261. So then we'll get the actual humid volume of the given sample. So with this calculation, the value obtained is 0.974 meter cube per kg dry air. So alternate method gives the humid volume by substituting the values in the humid volume equation. So we know this formula. Humid volume VH is equal to 8315 into 1 by MB plus Y dash by ME into Tg plus 273 divided by P. So you have all the values at hand. Just substitute them and calculate humid volume. The calculation is like this. VH is equal to 8315 into in bracket 1 by MB. MB is the molecular weight of air. So 29 is the approximate value. The exact value is 28.97. So that is taken here plus 0.030 represents Y dash for the given sample divided by 18.02 is the actual molecular weight of the water. So this thing is then multiplied by the Tg plus 273, that is 55 plus 273 in the numerator. Then the total pressure of the system is 1.0133 into 10 raised to 5. So after performing calculation, the volume of the vapor gas mixture, that is humid volume, is obtained as 0.9735, can round it off to 0.974 meter cube per kg dry air. So this is now compared to the volume that is obtained by the earlier method, so which is also equal to 0.974 meter cube per kg dry air. So whichever method is easier, you can use that method. So for the purpose of ascertaining your calculation, whether it is correct or not, you can use both the methods for the determination of a particular characteristic. So let us now find out the other characteristic, that is humid heat. So you know the formula for humid heat. So Cs is equal to Cp plus Y dash Ca. That Cp and Ca represent the heat capacity of air and water respectively at the given temperature of 55 degrees centigrade. So these two values can be obtained from the specific heat data for the respective substances. Then substitute those values and substitute the value of Y dash. Then you will get the humid heat. So Cs is equal to the Cb value for at 55 degrees centigrade for air is 1005 plus the Y dash value is 0.030 into the specific heat of water at 55 degrees centigrade is 1884. So substitute all the values and calculate. Then you'll get a value of 1061.5 joules per kg Kelvin. The value of Cb and Ca are obtained from specific heat data as I mentioned earlier for air and water vapor respectively. So then at 55 degrees centigrade, you can calculate the humid heat, which is equal to 1061.5 joules per kg Kelvin. So that Cs value can be directly read from the humidity chart. So in the present humidity chart that we are using, The humid heat versus humidity plot is not visible. So here we can't use that method. So we have to calculate it theoretically using the equation Cs is equal to Cv plus y dash Ca. Now let us estimate the enthalpy of the given air sample H dash at tribal temperature of 55 degrees centigrade. The enthalpy of dry air is 56,000 joule per kg dry air, and that for saturated air is 352,000 joule per kg dry air. So both these values have been noted down from the humidity chart. So then using these two values, we can calculate the enthalpy of the given air water vapor mixture. So H dash is equal to 56,000 into 3,52,000 minus 56,000 in bracket into 0.261. So that is the y dash value for the given sample. So then after you do the calculations, then H dash will be equal to 133.300 kilojoules per kg dry air. So either it is 133300 joules per kg dry air. So you can write it down the value in a short form like 133.300 kilojoules per kg dry air. So that is how you can use the humidity chart to estimate the different characteristics of a sample of air. So this is done in an industrial process wherever humidification operation is being carried out. So this is an alternative method to estimate the H dash value. So you all know the equation for the enthalpy of vapor gas mixture. It is H dash is equal to Cs into Tg minus T naught plus Y dash lambda naught. So substitute all the values in the given equation. Then H dash will be equal to 133.4 kilojoules per kg dry air. So this is another method of obtaining the humid volume, sorry, of obtaining the enthalpy of the given air sample. So alternative method, one more is there. So for this method, you have to draw a line DF that is parallel to the adjacent adiabatic saturation curves. In fact, um, we are supposed to use the line, yeah, DF. So the adiabatic cooling line that has been drawn from the point where the dry bulb temperature and humidity value lines are meeting. So from point F, the enthalpy is read as 134 kilojoules per kg dry air. So which is nearly same as that of the enthalpy of the given sample of air water vapor at point A on the chart. So this is another simple question where you are given the dry bulb temperature as 65 degrees centigrade and the wet bulb temperature as 35 degrees centigrade. Your job is to determine the absolute humidity of the given sample. So just like in the previous case, here also you're supposed to mark the dry bulb temperature on x-axis. So the dry bulb temperature is Tg, so which is corresponding to 65 meter cube per kg. So 65 degrees centigrade is marked on x-axis. Then the wet bulb temperature 35 degrees centigrade is marked on a 100% saturation curve. So from that point, so for this what you have to do is, since the wet bulb temperature and adiabatic saturation temperatures are the same, so whatever value that is given 35 degrees centigrade is TAS also. So mark this value on x-axis at 35 degrees centigrade. From that point, draw a straight vertical line. The two lines will meet at a point that correspond to the wet bulb temperature TW. So after drawing the cooling curve, that curve and the dry bulb temperature line will then meet at certain point. From that point, you can read out the humidity of the given sample of air on y-axis, that is exactly at the point y dash as shown in figure. So then whatever value you've estimated, write down as, so that is the answer written down at the bottom of the slide. So y dash is the answer or the solution for the given problem. It is equal to 0.024 kg water per kg dry air. So also the other characteristic that you have found out in the given problem is TDP. So TDP represent the dew point temperature of the given mixture. So with that, we have completed the session in which we have learned how to use the humidity chart to solve problems based on humidification operation.